You guys might have already forgotten about Snake Eyes because everyone is playing Tenpai right now and nobody's playing Snake Eyes or Snake Eyes Fire King anymore, but there is this new engine at the horizon. It will probably not be in the next pack, but might be in the pack afterwards. We are now on the set where the Fiendsmith stuff will be brought to us, so it could also be in the next pack coming. If it's totally crazy, it is in the next pack that we get on Monday, but I do not think at all that that's the case. But this could be part of the next selection pack, and I want to show you what this engine, which will not only be in Snake Eyes, but also you can put it in Memento, you can put it in Unchained. I want to show you what this does to Snake Eyes and what you can do with only one Snake Eyes Ash and one Fiendsmith Engraver. It is crazy. Master Duel is about to change again when the Fiendsmith engine finally hits. Okay, let's start with only one Engraver. We have the Engraver in the hand. If you have it in the hand, you can discard him for another Fiendsmith spell. We are going to get the Tractus, which we can now activate to search a light fiend to the hand and then also discard one card from the hand. We are searching an old card, Fabled Lurry, and then we have to discard him. Discarding him will trigger him to be special summoned to our field, and now because he's a light fiend, we can go link 1 into Fiendsmith Requiem, the link 1 of Fiendsmith, which you need one light fiend monster for. This guy can now tag out to the graveyard for cost to summon a Fiendsmith monster from the deck to the field. We are getting another Fiendsmith Engraver. We have now one engrave and one on the board here. What we can do next is activate our Fiendsmith Engraver in the graveyard because it has multiple effects, 3 to be exact. We can activate him in the graveyard, shuffle back one of our light fiends. In this case, we shuffle back our Requiem, and this is one cool thing about the Fiendsmith engine. It basically recycles all of its content into the deck and into the extra deck so that you can use it again next turn, and then we can special summon Fiendsmith Engraver. Now we are going to link them away for the link 2 of the Fiendsmith archetype, Fiendsmith Sequence, which you can activate. It needs 2 monsters including a light fiend monster, which you can activate to do a fusion summon into a fiend monster with stuff from your graveyard that will be shuffled back into the deck and extra deck. You can also use your hand and your field, but you can use your graveyard. We're activating this, shuffle back Fabled Lurry and one of the Fiendsmith Engraver for the fusion monster that was banished in the OCG because it was just so annoyingly strong. Oh no, banished in a TCG, sorry, and it could burn your opponent for 1200. The Fiendsmith Lacrina, which you can now activate Lacrima's effect to target, I think it's a light fiend. Is it a light fiend? A light fiend monster in your graveyard, and either put it to the hand or special summon it. In this case, because we have used the Fiendsmith Engraver's hand effect already, we are special summoning it, and here you can see why Fiendsmith is such a good engine. We have 2 level 6s on the body right now, which we can now go ahead and overlay into Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal. And you might have asked yourself the question, where's all the Snake Eye stuff? We are getting to that now because we have Beatrice, which we can activate to detach one and then send any card from our graveyard to from our deck to the graveyard. There's also that Black Goat is laughing in here that you could also send if, for example, you already have access to your Snake Eyes Ash. But now our Snake Eyes Ash is in the graveyard, and you can see what we have here, a link 2 and another body, which obviously go into Promethean Princess. Now the Promethean Princess can revive, we can use the effect of Lacrima, putting back another light fiend from the graveyard, in this case our link 2, recycling it to the extra deck so we can use it once again, and burning our opponent for 1200. This was very unfair in the TCG because in best of 3's 45 minutes you could finish games with this card alone. We are going to resummon Snake Eyes Ash, and from here on out it's firstly the Snake Eyes combo, Poplar to the hand, Poplar, special summon to the field, activate the effect to in this case get the field spell, and now we are getting another new card that we will probably receive within the next pack because it's definitely overdue. Don't be confused here, it's Japanese, but it's Snake Eyes Diabellstar, which can target a fire monster in the graveyard, put it in the spell trap zone, and then special summon itself out. It can also, when battling, put himself and the monster it is battling in the spell trap zone, though the second effect is not that important. But we have this in the spell trap zone now, very nice. Using Snake Eye Ash, sending it away for an Oak. You know what is the drill right here. Oak is going to reborn the ash. Oak is going to send away Promethean, so we are no longer fire locked into Flame Birch Dragon. And now we are going to make a link 2 into IP Masquerena, a very strong end board piece. We can now activate Poplar to set back Snake Eyes Diabellstar and the spell trap. We have not yet used Snake Eyes Diabellstar's effect to summon to the field. We are targeting the Poplar, putting it in the spell trap. You could also target the Oak here. If you put the Oak here, then you can obviously bring a Snake Eyes Ash back, but because we only have Poplar at 1, you will not be able to search a Poplar and also special summon it. If you put the Poplar here, you have the advantage of searching an original Sympho Spoils when you summon this with the Temple on your opponent's turn. But now we have the Snake Eyes Diabellstar body. One very integral card in this combo is Celine, Queen of the Master Magicians, which will now get 3 counters, which we then can directly use to resummon a Spellcaster. In this case, this is a Spellcaster. Also, Diabellstar would work, which is very, very nice. We are summoning back the Snake Eyes Diabellstar, and now we have Link 4 available, and 2 material Appaloosa for our end board, and then we are activating Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon to set to the spell and trap zone the IP Masquerina. And we have done all of this by just using one Fiendsmith Engraver, which we only had the Fiendsmith Engraver, no access to our Snake Eyes engine, but we have our entire Snake Eyes engine, access to a 2 material Appaloosa, as well as summoning out the IP Masquerina into an SP. We have a follow-up from the Flamberge, we have the Promethean Princess in the graveyard, we can summon our Poplar back, and then we also have Fiendsmith stuff in the graveyard that we can use on our next turn. Keep in mind that on our next turn we could just use the effect of Fiendsmith Engraver, shuffling back the Fiendsmith Lacrima, summoning the Engraver, and then remember we already have the Link 1 Fiendsmith guy back in the extra deck. We could just do the entire Fiendsmith combo once again just from our stuff that we have in the graveyard right here. So pretty insane, but the 1 card Snake Eyes Ash combo is even more insane, and I will show you that now. So if you thought that this combo was insane, look what one Snake Eye Ash can accomplish. It is crazy, one of the best boards that you can go into. This is a very aggressive combo that basically ignores Nip. You can also play around Nip, then you will not have the Fiendsmith and boss monster on the board. So we are going Ash into Poplar into Field Spell, you know the drill, and then we are once again setting the new one, Snake Eyes Diabellstar. Once again we are Snake Eye Ashing the 2 away for an Oak Reborn. The Snake Eye Ash, and now there comes one of the new interesting cards that we will probably get when we get the Fiendsmith stuff, the Moon of the Closed Heaven, which is the little girl from the Underworld Goddess of Closed Worlds. The reason why this is so good in Fiendsmith or in any deck using the Fiendsmith engine is that this is a light fiend that you can make with any 2 monsters. And if you remember, the beginning of our Fiendsmith combo is our Fiendsmith Requiem, which needs 1 light fiend monster. So with any 2 monsters, doesn't matter what these monsters are, they just need to be effect monsters, so no Nip token. You can go into Moon of the Closed Heaven, which Moon can then go into Requiem. So this thing gets you into your entire Fiendsmith engine without you having any of the Fiendsmith cards available. So now we can replace Snake Eyes Diabellstar because we have sent the Poplar to the graveyard, and we can now link into our Link 1 Fiendsmith Requiem, and he can obviously get us into Fiendsmith Engraver, the card we just started with in the last combo. Fiendsmith Requiem can now, this is another effect, target the Fiendsmith Engraver and being equipped to it, which is cool because we can send it away for Oak now. It's basically for free. What you could also do is use the 3rd Fiendsmith Engraver effect, it's crazy, and just send this to the graveyard to also send one of your opponent's monsters to the graveyard. So this is also a very good tool in clearing your opponent's board. We are sending this away because it's basically free material for a Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon, and then we can go ahead, special summon our Snake Eyes Diastar and put the Oak in the spell trap zone for the next turn. Now we have 2 bodies and can also keep our Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon on the field, which means we are still protected into the Fiendsmith sequence, which we once again can use at this point to fusion summon with our 2 Link monsters back into the extra deck into once again Lacrima. Lacrima can now once again target our Fiendsmith Engraver, this time adding it to hand, because remember we have not used Fiendsmith Engraver's hand effect to get the Fiendsmith Tract. Now we are activating Fiendsmith Tract, once again grabbing the Fabled Lurry, discarding Lurry, special summoning Lurry in a moment here. And if you are wondering why we are doing this, this basically generates us an extra body on the field via the Fabled Lurry, because we will still be able to resummon the Fiendsmith Engraver in a moment here. And we also need Fiendsmith Tract for its 2nd effect to fuse into a Fiendsmith monster with stuff from your board, which we'll use in a second to go into the end boss monster. With the Flamberge Dragon as well as Fabled Lurry, we go into IP Masquerina here. Obviously this triggers our Flamberge Dragon, getting us back our Snake Eye Ash as well as Poplar bodies here, very nice. Now we can use Fiendsmith Engraver, shuffle back the Lurry to special summon him, and now we have 3 fiends on the field. Now we can use the Fiendsmith Tract's effect to fusion summon with our board, fusion summoning into Fiendsmith Desiree, the Fiendsmith and boss monster. We will equip Fiendsmith Desiree with the Sequentia, because every Link monster of Fiendsmith can be equipped to another Fiendsmith monster on the field. And it says, quick effect, you can negate the effects of a number of face-up cards on the field up to the total Link rating of link monsters equipped to this card until the end of this turn. So in this case 2, we can negate up to 2 cards that are face up on the field until the end phase. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can shuffle 1 other light field monster from your deck, from your graveyard into the deck extra deck, and then target 1 card on the field and send it to the graveyard. Note here that you can also use the fusion monster, the Lacrima, to resummon Fiendsmith Desiree, because if this is in the graveyard, you can also resummon this with the fusion monster. Very, very strong. And we're also making a cool use of the effect in a moment here on our own turn. We are going into Promethean Princess, bestow our flames. This gets us back our Flamebird Dragon, of course, which Flamebird Dragon can then go ahead and put the IP Masquerena in the spell trap zone as always, basically. Now we are using the effect of Desiree to negate the Promethean Princess, which Promethean Princess up until this point was fire locking us. Now she no longer is, because she was negated by the Desiree. And now we can use the remaining 2 bodies to go into an Appaloosa for 2. And this is our end board, which is absolutely insane. From just 1 Snake Eyes Ash, we have the Promethean in the graveyard. We have the follow-up via the Fiendsmith Engraver. We have the IP Masquerena, which goes into an SP. We have the Flamebird follow-up by resummoning back Ash and Poplar. We have an Oak that can be special summoned via the Temple. We have Fiendsmith Desiree, which can negate up to 2 cards on the field. And we have 2 material negate Appaloosa here. One of the most insane one-card combos I have ever seen, and if you can get this through, you can be quite sure that your opponent will not be able to play through this. Keep in mind though that you will also have 4 other cards in the hand, so the likelihood of you having a hand trap is very high, because this deck can play a lot of non-engine. It's just insane. If the Fiendsmith stuff comes, we can be pretty sure that the Snake Eyes deck, Fiendsmith Snake Eye that is, will once again take over and I guess be a bit more dominant than Tenpai Dragon, so we might not even need Tenpai Dragon to get hit to make it a bit weaker. Fiendsmith Snake Eyes could just do it by itself. Let me know in the comments what you think of this crazy combo deck, and whether you are hyped for it or you are not. I definitely am. I love the Fiendsmith engine. You will also, as I already said, be able to put it in other decks like Memento or Unchained. Very cool. And even other decks. This is a very flexible one, which definitely will get hit at some point. It is hit in the OCG as well as in the TCG, because it's just so strong, and will also receive further support in the future. Crazy. But let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for being here. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, and we will see each other in the next one.